hello. I am going to call to order the February 15th, 2024 Board of Education meeting. Start with our land acknowledgement. We acknowledge the traditional, ancestral, unceded territory of the Chumash, Tongva, Fernandinho, Tatavaim, and First Nations on which we are learning, educating, and living. Miss Hatch, might I call upon you to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? And for those that choose to do so, please rise.
Right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much. Ms. Quinterio, please take the roll at this time.
Member Ferguson,
Present.
Member Tabbitt,
Present.
Clerk Ponser Kamkar,
Present.
Vice President Agakanian,
Present.
President Weisberg.
Present. We'll try not to make you talk at all. Feel so bad. Okay, so we'll move to item 5, reporting on closed session. I don't believe anything to report out until the consent agenda. Item 6, adjustments to the agenda. Dr. Promo, I believe you had an adjustment?
Yes, please. If you are willing, I'd like to announce a personnel change. Maybe we can do it before the presentation on the Advanced Place in African American Studies presentation.
Are the other board members okay with that? Fine by us?
Thank you.
You're welcome. 7, items for future agendas. I know we gave a couple last meeting, so we might be a new agenda item to out. We'll move on to item 8, presentations and recognitions, and we'll move to something I know we're all super excited about, first we're introducing, right?
Yes.
That was the change. I don't know. But also we're super excited about this, so.
Okay, good evening, Board President, Dr. Emily Weisberg, board members, Dr. Paramo, colleagues, and BUSD community. It's my esteemed pleasure to introduce you to Mrs. Julie Markison. She is our new Director of Health and Student Services for the Burbank Unified School District. Julie began her career in education in 1999 as a middle school English teacher for the West Des Moines Community School District in her home state of Iowa. After moving to Los Angeles in 2000, she became an English teacher for the Los Angeles Unified School District at Venice High School, where she later served as the school's testing and magnet school coordinator. Julie earned a master's degree in educational leadership and policy studies from Cal State Northridge in 2014, and after 15 years at Venice High, she left to become house principal at Santa Monica High School in the Santa Monica Malibu district. Julie then went to Culver City Middle School for 3 years to serve as assistant principal for 5 years. In 2022, Julie moved to Burbank with her family and became the principal of Burbank High School. She has loved being a Bulldog for the past 2 years and serving the community in which she lives. Julie is proud to be a part of the Burbank community, especially the Burbank Unified School District. So with a great pleasure, I introduce Julie Markison, our new Director of Student and Health Services.
Thank you so much. I want to say, if it's okay, before I say much, I just want to say hi to my mom, who I think is watching from Iowa. I gave her the link. And to my fiance, who's in Pennsylvania. Hi. Thank you. Board President Weisberg, Vice President Agakanian, Clerk Ponser Kamkar, and board members Tabbitt and Ferguson, Superintendent Paramo, and the Executive Cabinet. First of all, I just want to say a huge thank you to all of you because you have supported me so much throughout my journey. And you've entrusted me with the students and the staff and the families at Burbank High School, and it has truly been a joy for me in that position. And it's been a joy and an honor to serve as principal, and that's what made this a difficult decision for me, because I love it there. And as a resident of Burbank, I also wanted to say that I'm also a huge fan of the district, and I have a stepdaughter who's here tonight who is a 6th grader at Huerta Middle School with Mrs. Hatch. So we are all in with Burbank schools. We love it. I have to say that I didn't really expect to be standing here so soon. I'm having memories of not that long ago. But I'm thrilled that Superintendent Paramo and the executive board felt that, as well as the colleagues and parents who were on the panels for the interviews, felt that I was the right person at the right time. So I'm so excited to continue supporting the community and the district. And although I will remain a Bulldog at heart forever, I also am excited because now I also get to be a bear and a cougar and a bald eagle and a panther and a Mustang and yellow jacket and so many more. I'm really excited about that. I hope I get a lot of gear when I go to the schools because I'm going to need it. Thank you again for this opportunity to continue to serve the students, staff, and families of Burbank. I cherish this new chapter in my life, and I'm looking forward to learning and growing with the district from all of you. Thank you so much.
Any staff comments and then board member comments?
I'm just so excited to have you on the team. Can't wait for you to get started.
Thank you.
Ms. Tabbitt?
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You know, I always enjoyed being at Burbank High, and you are an amazing principal, which makes me think that you're going to be much more amazing in your new line. And so I'll get to see you more often, too. So that's a good thing.
True.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Mr. Ferguson?
Thank you. I have so enjoyed working with you as a board member, as a past school board president, because of your engagement. But and I've loved seeing how parents engage with you, how students engage. All folks, I have heard nonstop that you are very accessible. But really what I've loved seeing and with Dr. Weisberg a lot was really your values and how those play out in the way that you work. So now to have you at the district office to be able to engage and kind of train the next generation, I think that's a good move. So welcome, and certainly looking forward to all that you're going to bring to the district office. I will also say Burbank High needed a stabilizing force for a bit. And you were able to do that, and that's an incredibly difficult task for a school that has such a range of needs. So just truly, thank you for standing up in that moment, for being a leader for us and for those kids in that moment, and for that academic community. We really just appreciate it, and now excited to see you elevated to new responsibilities.
Thank you so much.
Ms. Ponser-Kamkar?
Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
This is really exciting. This is a really important role, as you know, and I'm excited to see all the amazing things that you're going to do. And in terms of school swag, I know that Kenny Knoop will be able to hook you up with a giant bag of Bears stuff
Yes.
as soon as you tell him. So probably it's like going to be on your desk tomorrow.
I think you just did.
Yeah, I think I just told him. But yeah, I'm excited to see you in support of working in support of all of our schools, and I think our kiddos are going to be all the better for it. So
Thank you.
congrats, and I'm excited for you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Congratulations. You know, last time we met, we were at that big rally, and the level of respect that you received from the students and your peers is commendable, and I'm 100% sure it's going to be same thing throughout the district. And when speaking of gear, I am a Matador too, so I'll get you a CSUN shirt.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Go Matadors.
I guess I could get you a shirt from my school if you would like it. If that's what we're talking about now. I'll get you something.
I will take all the shirts. Just bring them my way.
You'll get 'em
Shirts
all.
galore.
Super excited. And I know it's a loss for Burbank High students, but it's actually not. It's just a gain for all of our kids. I think that your enthusiasm and like authentic love of our students is something that we desperately needed. And I think it's gonna breathe so much exciting new life into student services and to the amazing staff that's already there that also loves our kids with this authentic commitment. So I'm just really, really excited. And, I say it all the time, but I mean it. However we can support you, please let us know. And just can't wait to see what lies ahead and I don't know how balancing both things is going to be quite the doozy. But make sure you take time to like sleep once in a while. I don't know. I've heard it's helpful. But just welcome and congratulations. And we're so lucky that you're going to go on this next adventure with us.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate all of your support. You've all been there for me and supported me, and that makes a huge difference to our school and to our community as well. So thank you so much.
Did we miss something? We sure. Armand doesn't like pictures, but we'll talk him into it.
You're welcome. I love pictures. Come right on over.
But like for real though.
Don't threaten me with an interesting PowerPoint, Dr. Macias.
You guys don't want to get in on this?
You want to come in? No?
I'm not saying.
They're shy.
Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Come on, shorty.
Wait, that wasn't my good one. I don't have one. I don't either. I picked the wrong day to dress like a marshmallow.
Cindy, your face is all red.
Okay. We're going to move forward to the other thing we're super duper excited about, which is 8A presentation on Advanced Placement African American Studies Black History Month project. Dr. Yar.
Hello, good evening, President Weisberg, board members, staff, and our community. I have the great honor and fun of introducing somebody really wonderful, beloved, fantastic teacher at Burroughs High School who volunteered for a project that's really meaningful, and especially this month as we celebrate Black History. We're piloting a class for the College Board on Advanced Placement African American Studies. And there's some really impressive, amazing work going on there. There are 3 students that you're going to meet who are going to talk about that work where they're collaborating with an elementary school during this month as well. So with no further ado, if Mr. Scott Hatch will join me and introduce his students and get us going.
Good evening. I have the honor to have with me tonight Mia Damiani, Maya Pearl, and Paris Tesfu, who are currently enrolled in the class, and they're going to talk a little bit about their experience and sort of what we've been doing. But I'll just sort of give a little brief intro here. Good evening, board members and district staff. Thank you so much for having us here tonight. My name is Scott Hatch. I've been teaching social studies at John Burroughs High School for the last 19 years. And this year, I've had the privilege of piloting AP African American Studies, a new college level course looking at the African American experience. The class covers an array of topics designed to encompass Black experience in the United States, ranging from African kingdoms all the way to President Obama. We recently finished our unit entitled Practicing Freedom, in which we looked at post-emancipation life for Black Americans who as a people experienced this fundamental right for the first time. Through primary sources by African American scholars, who were wrestling with questions of integration, equal rights, and what it means to be a Black American, we examined the essential question, to what extent did African Americans achieve freedom? I'm honored to bring this curriculum to our district. I'm going to let the students behind me say a few words about their experiences, but personally, teaching this class has been one of the most important and meaningful endeavors of my career in education. Watching students make connections to personal histories has had a profound impact on me, particularly because so many of their own backgrounds and voices have been ignored by traditional curriculum. The scholarly nature of this class allows students to recognize that all histories are, in fact, American history. In honor of Black History Month this year, we are teaming with Disney Elementary to present important figures and movements using the national theme of Black History Month this year, which is African Americans and the Arts. Our class made single slide presentations, which I notice you have provided copies of. Thank you, I appreciate that. If you don't have one, I highly recommend that you have a look, on a variety of artists and movements we have provided to the board. We then made video presentations of our project to share with the elementary school students with the intention of Disney students using that information to create door decorations to commemorate Black History Month. I'm going to turn it over to a few of our students here, and they can tell you about what they did and what their experience is.
Hi, my name is Mia Damiani, and I'm a senior at John Burroughs High School. I can honestly say that AP African American Studies has been my favorite class that I've been able to take during my high school career. As soon as I heard about the class, I was interested to learn more about Black culture since my knowledge was very limited. But I was nervous to sign up for the class, simply because I thought I would feel out of place. But on the very first day in Mr. Hatch's class, I was met with the most welcoming and inclusive environment I could have asked for. The most important thing about our classroom environment is the diverse discussions that we have. Through every unit, Mr. Hatch encourages us to share our thoughts and feedback on the lessons that we learn. These discussions incorporate a wide variety of opinions and backgrounds that have helped me redefine my understanding of history. As someone who is not a person of color, listening to other students from different backgrounds talk about their personal connections with the class has given me a whole new perspective on Black culture. Without the class, I'm not sure that reading a book about racism or covering a short unit on slavery would have given me the perspective I now have in learning that slavery and racism are interwoven into the very fabric of American history, and that this history of structural and institutional racism continues to affect communities of color to this day. Over dinner, my family will often ask me what I'm learning in school. The small bits of information I have shared with them, like how slavery really continued well past the Emancipation Proclamation through unfair arrests, leading to reimagined slavery through mass incarceration, has opened up their eyes to the information about which they have previously had no idea. I've always seen my parents as role models. And I look around our community, I see that most people are good. But the issue lies in the lack of information and the education they have about the totality of the Black experience in America. I do feel that implementing this class has had a widespread effect on Burroughs. The 30 students in this class are constantly passing their knowledge to others without even thinking twice about it because their education has reshaped their entire perspective on American history. If we are able to encourage more people in these difficult discussions, we will together create a stronger, more welcoming, and more inclusive community for everyone. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Maya Pearl, and I would like to speak on the importance of the AP African American Studies course. For starters, my background, my father is African American. He was born actually a couple of months after segregation ended. And my mother is an Ethiopian immigrant. And these two sides have allowed me to see different perspectives. Not only do I get to fully understand Africa's rich history, but I also get to understand like African Americans' rich history. And the way African history itself is portrayed in even movies and the media in general, it's offensive, actually. I mean, I have been to Africa. I have seen everything firsthand. Everything is so beautiful, and like the culture is rich and the people are so kind, but that's not what we see in the movies. We see hunters or people who don't even know what technology is. I mean, I've had people tell me that people who haven't even been to Africa, they've told me that Africans don't know what a Tesla is, they don't know what this is, they don't know what phones are. And it's honestly ridiculous. I mean, this is my family they're speaking about, and my family actually has a rich history. They have worked with royalty. And as well as my father, he has given me a true perspective on Black history, and I have been able, because of him, I've been able to see past just like music and dancing. We are much more than that. We have created a culture that has spread around the world, and the way that Africans, African Americans, Afro-Caribbeans are portrayed, they are not humanized, and the AP African American Studies course allows us to be humanized because regular history classes don't show Africans for who they truly are. I mean, people only know Harriet Tubman or Rosa Parks, but they don't speak about Phyllis Wheatley. They don't speak about the people who truly made African history, and it takes a community to create this history. And now that we are in a somewhat different place than where we were 400 years back, we can not only work with the Black community, but outside communities to change and rewrite history. And the best way to do that is to teach them about the past and to actually give them an emotional depth of the history and who Black people truly are. I mean, this course offers hands-on interactions with the culture itself. We made these beautiful masks that took us back to Africa itself and its history from like hundreds and hundreds of years back. And I am grateful that we have been offered such an amazing course, and I hope that other schools will learn from our school and take on this course as well and allow students to rewrite history. Because not only is this generation being offered the chance to make a change, but also the future generations who will read about this years from now. Thank you.
Good evening, sorry. I'm Paris Tesfu, and I'm here to present to you all. I'm very excited to be here. Once I found out that this course was going to be offered at JBHS, I knew I had to be a part of it. There was no way I was going to leave this school without taking this class. I was gonna fight no matter what. I don't care which class I had to drop, I'm taking this class. I was a little nervous going in. I have never taken an ethnic studies class, let alone a Black studies class, and it was just, I didn't know what to expect, but this class has absolutely blown me away. The interdisciplinary approach to evaluating and consuming Black history and content has consistently forced me to learn and examine the lies that have consistently and constantly have been churned out to us and the facts that have been omitted from history. This class has been, I've been able to use this class in all of my other classes that I'm taking. In AP Gov, we'll talk about Supreme Court cases, and I'll be able to use the stuff that we talked about in AP African American Studies. We'll read Beloved in AP Lit, and I'll be able to talk about the Middle Passage and figure out what Toni Morrison was actually trying to say, separate from what my other classmates who are not a part of this class thought the book was about. I've been able to talk more in depth in my sociology class and my psychology class, and this class has just made me a better human overall, made me a better artist. I've been able to write better poetry, explore different mediums of art that I have been too afraid to to like work with, because I just didn't think that I could do it, but being able to like see it in the class has made me want to explore different mediums of art. And this class has changed me more than I could have ever imagined. I kind of knew what I wanted to study in college, but now I have a clearer picture of what I want to study to deepen my knowledge and understanding of the Black experience and history as a whole. And I could not have asked for that in a different class. Like, this has been completely changed my whole perspective on life, and I'm just very grateful to have taken this class. Presenting to Disney Elementary School has been such a special experience because we've been able to share with younger audiences so we can live in this new age of diversity, inclusion, and belonging. And I wish I was an elementary student hearing this from the class, like the high school students, because it would have made me feel like there was a path for me as a Black student. Like, it would have made me feel like there was something for me, and I didn't have to figure that out myself as a high school student. I could have figured that out as a elementary school student. So I hope at least one of the elementary school students got that from our presentation. And I only hope more people can take this class next year and experience all the knowledge I have been able to get out of this class. And I hope we can all get better through this on campus. So thank you.
Yeah, the overall intention of the project was to just expose, educate, inform, a younger generation so that they can be more aware as they come up through the school system. So once again, thank you for having us. We truly appreciate all of your time. To quote Senator Carol Moseley Braun, "Defining myself as opposed to being defined by others is one of the most difficult challenges I face. I believe that giving kids different lenses allows them to widen their perspectives so they can be more well-rounded, empathetic, and complete students." Thank you.
Board members want to say amazing things? I got a lot of stuff.
I mean, it's been a while since we have incredible students in this district, but when you hear, you speak about this, it really gives us more subject area to kind of grasp on why this is important. I love that we've been pushing for an ethnic studies course generally, but this, to be able to pilot this, to be able to do this work, and to Mr. Hatch, thank you for taking this on. Like, this is the kind of education that our community expects of us. Truly, and it's a new standard. So really, truly, it's wonderful hearing from your experiences what this has been for you. I know that when I was taking even courses online during COVID, when you start getting into this work, it really is about self-discovery. It's analyzing all behaviors. It's really seeing things differently. And when new perspectives are offered. So I'm just so thrilled that it's come to you so early in life, and that we're able to continue to provide. This is something that we need to mainstream in so many ways, but this is such a good and an important start. So thank you.
Dr. Agakanian, and then Ms. Tabbitt.
Thank you. To Mia, Maya, and Paris, right? And Mr. Hatch, thank you for not only doing this, but also for sharing your experience. My personal experience when it comes to Africa was when I left my country at 14, I was abroad in a boarding school, and that's when I met my half Armenian, half Ethiopian friends. So those of you who don't know, there is a huge population of Armenians in Ethiopia. They are byproducts of the genocide. We share the same religion. We will celebrate on the 6th. And Ethiopian alphabet is Armenian upside down. So there's a lot of commonalities. And that's why I learn about Africa and about the culture. But I think it's also important that what you've started, it's not only about education, it's also about going out there and changing the world. And I will finish with a quote from Albert Einstein. The world will not be destroyed by those who do evil, but those who watch them without doing anything. There's a lot of evil still around us. This issue has not gone away. It's not getting any better. But I think through your education and you first learning and going out and changing this and having discussions at dinner tables, I think you can address this because education is the most powerful weapon. So thank you for all you do, and I look forward to seeing more of these students coming forward and sharing their stories. Mr. Hatch, thank you very much for all you do.
Ms. Tabbitt.
Congratulations to all of you, and really as a educator, it's exciting to see students excited about being a part of something where they're truly interested in learning. From whatever your backgrounds are and whatever brought you to that class, that's awesome. Mr. Hatch, though, I'm curious because not many folks in our educational community probably have much background in African studies or African American studies. Well, I happen to, my ex-husband's family lived in Africa for 2 or 3 years when he was growing up young. So, hearing of their experiences, absolutely. There's not a lot of difference in some locations from right here where we live. But what made you decide that this is a class you wanted to take on? And what kind of support have you been getting to make sure that you're able to lead these young people in the way they want to go?
Thank you. Great question. I saw a lot of just misconceptions that people had about sort of everything that the class is about, and saw it as an opportunity and a vehicle to use it to push back against those things, like how come we don't know African and African American history? The misconception of that, Africa is a dark place that has no history that we can't know, and that's obviously not true. So misconceptions like that were one of the main reasons why I volunteered to do this. I do not have, I'm a history major, but I don't have a background in African American studies or African history. Once I volunteered to do it, I started to self-educate myself, and my wife can tell you this summer I just sort of immersed myself in the entire subject. We were going back east on a trip to Washington, D.C., and she said, "What do you want to see?" I said, "We're going to the African American Museum of Culture." That was my one thing that I said I wanted to do. So, College Board has provided us with all the resources. They've designed the class in a way where you can teach it without a textbook because they did not want textbooks to be an obstacle for schools to not be able to offer it. And for that, I am grateful. I have had nothing but support from the staff, the administration, to the district level. A couple of you have come in and observed the class. I have felt completely supported by everyone that I've talked to in the community, at the district, at school. So
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Good answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks. I'm glad you asked that, Shar, because Mr. Hatch, I know we had a conversation on the side when I came to visit your classroom about just you really wanting to approach this with a lot of sensitivity, right? Knowing your own background, your own kind of need to learn a lot of this. And I just want to say that, I really appreciate the kind of humility and grace that you brought to this. And I think it is really reflected in how your students are talking about what they're learning and how they're thinking about it critically. And that's just, I think, really impressive. Mia, we have those same conversations around the dinner table. My children are much smaller, and actually my daughter goes to Disney, so I will be checking to see if she has learned anything yet. Maybe you haven't been to her classroom. But I'm glad that you're having those conversations. It's really important, and it's part of kind of, doing the work to make sure that people understand. If they haven't been educated, it's time to start, right? And Maya and Paris, I love that this is an experience that you can have. Maya, I think you did, when I came to your class, you were doing your mask, and I think Mr. Hatch actually told me that like you looked up kind of like the place where your family had come from so that you could do a specific mask for where your family had come from. And I just thought that was so cool because, you know, I took AP European civilization because it wasn't even world history then, it was just like European, right? And so I've done Ancestry.com. I got all of the places that I'm from when I took an AP history class, but like that wasn't an option until recently. And so I'm so glad that you're getting that and that you have a really wonderful guide to take you through all of this and that we are able to offer it just brings me immense pleasure. And so I'm really proud of you guys. I'm proud of you for taking this on, and I'm proud of you for coming to tell us about it. So thank you.
I'm going to try not to nerd out. It's so hard. So Maya, Paris. Thank you. I wrote down, Mia, you said, help me redefine my understanding of history, which I love. So I think Paris knows this about me, but I teach history as well. And that is like all I could ever hope for with my students. If they have a different understanding of history when they leave my class than when they came in. So it's really powerful to hear all three of you talk. Visiting the class was awesome. And Mr. Hatch, it's so difficult to take on a new class, especially something that you are like, I don't really know about this, but I'm going to jump right into it because it's so important, because it didn't exist before. So that's no small feat. And I know that we'll be tapping your expertise and your wisdom when we look at our ethnic studies class, because there's no teacher better suited to help us figure out what we can be doing better, differently, what supports we need to put in place. When you think about all of the states across this country who are limiting what we can learn, the real history, the authentic history that we can learn, it's never been more important. And there's this like brand new sort of, I don't want to say burden, but like challenge on you who have been learning this real history to go out into the world and share it, because there are thousands of students who don't have that opportunity anymore, which is heartbreaking for them. And empowering for us, because you do get to grapple with it and you do get to blow up all of this sort of like media mangling of what Africa is all about. In my 7th grade class, we talk a lot about how maps are super biased and how somebody made some decision about what was up and what was down and made that decision that, oh, Europe is up and Africa is down. Europe is better, Africa is worse. And we just kind of went along with it. And so being able to shatter that, to break that apart now as like intelligent, thoughtful, passionate human beings, there's nothing better than that. Paris, you said something that I would love to revisit, not now, but at some point. You're like, uh-oh. So you talked about how you wish as an elementary student you'd had this experience, and you talked about how it would have helped you find sort of your path as a Black student earlier than it did in high school. And that really resonated with me. And so something I'd love to have a larger conversation about, and with whoever would like to have it, is how we can help provide light on those paths sooner. Because we shouldn't be telling you what those paths are. We should just be providing you the light you need to be able to find them yourselves. And so this is a huge step, but what else can we be doing? What else should we be doing? What would you have wanted in elementary that we can think about, right? Because this is the first step, but now we have to take a million more. So I would love to continue the conversation with anybody who wants to have it about how we can start creating these opportunities earlier, because it is about those lenses, right? Like everybody needs to see themselves in the things they're learning. And for a long time, it's only been a select few, right? So how can we make sure that all of our students see themselves in everything we're doing? I mean, that should be the goal of all of us, right? And so it's so exciting to hear about a class where everyone is feeling like they can see themselves and they can see the full sort of like scope and expanse of American history, but that means that there's just so much more learning to do. So hopefully you won't mind doing a little more work with me at some point, just all of you, all three of you if you'd like, or anybody, just to talk some more about what can we be doing to make this sort of experience happen sooner and for more people, because I can't think of a better goal. So hopefully you'll be open to talking with me about that. But it's just so exciting. I mean, there's nothing better than hearing from the three of you and from Mr. Hatch and just being able to hear about an experience that really just elevated everybody. So I know it was a lot of work for you, and I know it was a lot of work for the students too, because you're really grappling with some complex stuff. So just thank you to everybody. I'm gonna be quiet because I could talk about it for a really long time. Dr. Paramo, please, but yay.
Thank you. I'll be brief. I've only been superintendent for 8 months. And I will tell you that tonight and hearing you speak is probably the proudest moment I've had as superintendent in the last 8 months. For a specific reason. Each one of you got up there and spoke, and the smile on your faces, you were beaming and excited and passionate about everything that you learned. And what that did is reminded me of an experience I had as a student. I attended Whittier College, and you may not know it, it's small liberal arts college. Our mascot is the poet. It was very nerdy, totally get it. Really, the biggest department was the English department. I had an amazing education, but it wasn't until I went to grad school and got my master's degree in English literature that I realized that there was an entire genre that I knew nothing about, and that was African American literature. And in order for me to study that, I had to study Black history. For 2.5 years, I was consumed with Black literature, and it is by far the greatest love is reading. So we know about Toni Morrison, she's amazing. We know about Langston Hughes, we know about Zora Neale Hurston. There's so much more. There is so much more, and I was so excited as a learner to be exposed to that, and that's what the sense I got from you. And you're so lucky that you're having this experience as a senior in high school and not as an adult at 24 years old going to earn a master's degree in English. You're so lucky to have that experience. And just one thing, because it was an eye-opener for me, if you're ever interested, there is an author named Gene Toomer. He was a Black man who passed as white. And he wrote a book called Cain, and it's a series of vignettes about the South. And the reason why his work was so important to me is because he had the experience of passing as a white man, knowing he wasn't. And so he had conversations with people and learned so much as a human because he was able to pass. And it's reflected in his writing, and it's absolutely amazing. If you ever get the chance, you should treat yourself. They're short vignettes anyway. You'll love it. Thank you.
You should also try the berbere spice from Ethiopia, which saved me at the boarding school. You add that to anything, it will taste great.
I will take your word for it.
Thank you guys so much. Oh, the best. We are going to move on to 9 reports from the board and staff, and we are going to start with our fantastic student representatives. Do you want to just stay up since you're already up? We'll go first. Paris Tesfu from John Burroughs High School.
Okay, let me pull it up. Okay. Good evening, President Emily Weisberg, distinguished school board members, Superintendent John Paramo, district staff, members of the community. My name is Paris Tesfu, president of John Burroughs High School, and I'm here to give my report on February 18th, 2024. Starting with campus news, ASB Student Outreach Committee is excited to announce their Black History Month event. The Black Culture Celebration will be held next week as a lunchtime Spirit Week. We'll start the Spirit Week on Tuesday. We'll be celebrating Black art in the Quad. With Wednesday, we're excited to watch a hip hop performance performed by our dance team. Thursday, come down to the quad to watch a special performance by the IMA band. And Friday, celebrate Black culture and show your support by wearing red, green, or black. We hope this brings awareness to the Black culture on campus and build a more inclusive, diverse space at JBHS. Speaking of Black History Month, I'm excited that I'm happy to report that what I just reported. And yeah, I personally created a slide. I created a slide for the first African-American woman to speak in public in the U.S., Maria Stewart, and I would like to thank my classmates and Mr. Hatch for attending today and taking time out of their day to be here. In performing arts news, Pop Show is almost here. It's next weekend, the 23rd, 24th, and 25th. Please come out and support our talented choirs and performers. I wish them luck performing at the middle schools tomorrow and their first competition of the year on Saturday. Ending with sports updates, congratulations to our girls varsity basketball team for making it to division quarterfinals this season. They're going into their off season starting today. Boys varsity tennis is playing today at Valencia, and girls softball played today against Mark Keppel at 3:30. Both teams will be at tournaments this Saturday. Both boys baseball teams are playing against San Marino tomorrow, and track and field will be away at the CV Invite at La Cañada Saturday at 9 a.m. Good luck to all of our teams, and if you have any questions, comments.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to move to our next representative from Burbank High School, Andronik Bilbulian.
Good evening. Good evening, Board President Weisberg, distinguished board members, Superintendent Paramo, district staff, and members of the Burbank community. My name is Andronik Bilbulian, and it is with pleasure that I provide a report this evening on all previous, current, and future Burbank High activities. We started off the month of February with a Spirit Week and a Winter Rally. We had multiple Spirit Days and lunchtime activities throughout the week. Monday, the 29th, was anything but a backpack day. Tuesday was surfers versus bikers. Wednesday was barbecue dads versus soccer moms. And Thursday, February 1st, was the day of the rally, along with the big game between Burbank and Burroughs. The theme of the rally was TV channels. So seniors were Nickelodeon, juniors were Disney, sophomores were Cartoon Network, and freshmen were PBS Kids. Our junior class officers were selling Valentine's grams for $5 all of last week, and ASB delivered the grams during fourth period yesterday. And in addition to this, the senior class is hosting a movie night this Friday, February 16th, to fundraise as well. Last Saturday, February 3rd, the BHS and JBHS Unified Color Guard team ended up scoring in the top 3 of the Santa Clarita classification show. February 7th consisted of 2 events, one of them being our UCLA blood drive. It went well. I think we reached, if not passed, our goal of 50 pints of blood. We had a mixture of students, teachers, and supervisors donate, which was really nice to see. And then there was also a PTSA meeting at 7 o'clock in the BHS library. Our BHS dance team presented their senior showcase in the Wolfson Auditorium on February 9th and 10th. All the ASB members went to the one on Friday the 9th, I believe, because 20% of those, the money generated, went to the senior class. The BHS baseball team will be hosting a pancake breakfast fundraiser next Sunday, the 25th, to honor our veterans and first responders. And February 21st will be CTE Day, where students will be exposed to a variety of future careers after high school or college. It's going to be about a 2-hour event, so it's going to be like half the group in the first hour and the other half of the group in the second hour, with tables all around the main quad showcasing all the choices students have when deciding their career. And lastly, I would like to end my report by sharing something that is very personal to me. Today marked the start of a 7-week fundraising campaign against blood cancer. There are over 20 high school teams across Los Angeles, with my team being one of them. Partnering with my 2 classmates and close friends, Alfred and Victoria, we formed Team Ava. We wanted to do this for our loved ones who had their battles with cancer and for all other patients who need our support. Our goal is to raise $150,000 between today and April 5th. It's a big goal, but we're willing to work hard to reach it. We cannot do it alone though, and we need your help. There are a few ways you can support our fundraising efforts. Donations, which are tax deductible, sharing the message and fundraising links with friends and family, donating a charity buzz experience, which I can answer because I know that's not like a familiar thing, and then or sponsoring Team Ava throughout our campaign. If you would like to help in any way or find out any information about LLS or Team Ava, we have a Instagram page at Team Ava, TEAM AVA. It's all lowercase and nothing in between. _ LLS. And I could take LLS, yeah. Mhm. And then I could take questions or make any clarifications.
So if we go to the Instagram page, will that give us links to be able to donate or to get involved in other ways?
So on there we have, I think, 9 posts about different things, and then there should be a link in the bio of our fundraising page with all our like backgrounds, why we're doing it.
Awesome.
And then if you just want to find out more information about the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, they have, obviously, if you just search it up, they have their big website with general information. But yeah.
So TEAMAVA _ LLS.
Yes.
Hope everybody heard that.
Thank you.
So first question was the career tech. When is that? What day is that?
That is February 21st.
What time?
11 to 1 ish.
Ish.
Yeah.
And second, thank you for raising money and getting donations to fight leukemia. As a former Armenian Bone Marrow Donor Registry Program board member, I can tell you that witnessing, children who couldn't find a match, it's very difficult. In certain cultures, like my culture community, your chances of matching is almost 98 to 2. It's very difficult. So, thank you for doing this. And I always tell people, witnessing what some of these kids went through, it was horrifying. So I thank you. I don't know how to, I wrote it down, but I'm going to ask my colleague again. I will make a donation, and thank you for all you do.
Anybody else? Thank you. Could you also, do you know you said the baseball team is doing a fundraiser on the 25th.
It's a long address. I didn't want to say all of it. If you want, I could just write it down somewhere.
That would be great. That'd be great. Thank you. And then we can share it. Thank you so much. Okay, we're going to move on to 9B, which is one of our new additions to our agenda, which I'm happy about, which is Burbank Teachers Association, or CSEA, our California School Employees Association, or BASA, our Burbank Association of School Administrators. If there's any of the leadership from those 3 unions who would like to report out, we would love to hear from you. It looks like we have BTA President Nicole Drabecki.
Good evening, everybody. Hope you're doing well. It's already had Valentine's Day, getting closer to March, so we're all getting excited. Us, our members in our membership. So thank you, Board President Emily Weisberg, Superintendent Paramo, district staff, and Board of Education members. So just wanted to let you know that parent-teacher conferences are coming up for our elementary level of our 11 schools. So I want to thank our members who've been working hard getting those together, ready for their parents. That's going to happen February 20th through the 26th. We also have high school open houses that will be happening towards the end of the month. I'm hoping that all of you have made an opening to visit our high school open houses, see how they're doing. And I also just want to mention that our members love when you come to our schools, our elementary, middle, and high school. I know that the majority of you do work, but even our BUSD cabinet, if you can ever stop by our classrooms, come into the classroom, not just in the doorway, and find out how our members are doing, any issues or concerns that they're dealing with. I think they really do enjoy that. So if you ever get some time in your schedule, I think that would be awesome. As I continue to talk to our members in our different school sites, they just are looking for support in our ELD populations. I know that we're going to be changing some funding in LCAP for that. And, just in my own realm at Dolores Huerta, continuing to get new students from Ukrainian, Russia, Armenia. The nice thing about Huerta is we are pairing some of those students up with other students in my classes who speak their language, and I think that they are doing well and being able to communicate and have a smooth transition into Burbank. Read Across America is also coming up. I will be at Edison Elementary on March 1st. Read Across America goes from March 1st through the 6th. I think that's the national thing. And obviously reading is very important. I can say from someone like myself, I never had the opportunity really to have my parents buy me books. And I think I would be a better writer and have bigger vocabulary words had I had that experience. And so obviously all that our teachers taking them to the library and our CSEA library techs being there. I think the more that students can read, it just helps them, especially when they get to high school, when they have to take some SATs and ACTs, and there's a lot of language arts on there. So just want to put it out there, and thanks for being here tonight and giving me the opportunity to speak. Thanks.
And then we're going to move to 9C, reports from the superintendent.
Yes. Want to report out on a couple of things. ADCO Roofing has made a lot of progress addressing the various leaks that happened because of the latest rains. This week they visited Roosevelt, Stevenson, Disney, John Muir Middle School, Luther, Burbank Middle School, Dolores Huerta, and Burbank High School. They will continue to give us updates on and report back to us on how the leaks are being remedied, and I will continue to bring this forward under superintendent's comments as we move forward. Wanted to share that we have been working very diligently with FCMAT to try to get a report to the public and to the board regarding their audit of our processes in budget and finance. The expectation was that we would have something in January. The delay is not on the part of Burbank Unified School District. We finally got a draft report on Friday, and we are working as fast as we can to get them here to publicly give us a report of findings so that our community understands where we stand in terms of the legitimacy of our budget and finance departments. Wanted to see if Andy, there's something else we need to add or we can add.
Just will give a few kind of overarching comments about some of the challenges that FCMAT has been experiencing. So just a reminder, FCMAT stands for the Fiscal Crisis and Management Assistance Team. They were created coming out of legislation, specifically Assembly Bill 1200 a number of years back. You hear AB 1200 as part of the negotiations that we have to present to you the the fiscal responsibility behind any negotiated increase with our labor partners. That legislation has them have their ultimate priority on supporting districts on the involuntary basis when they are having fiscal solvency issues. And so when we began talking with them in July, they initially had said that they anticipate coming out to our site the second week in September. in a matter of 5 days from when I had the first conversation on August 11th to when they followed up on August 17th or August 16th, they informed us that they'd had 4 additional districts that had been identified for the involuntary support, and that they all jumped ahead of us. And so we were not able to get them to come out until October 23rd and 24th. They requested some additional information. We'd already given them about 10,000 pages of documentation before their arrival. When they came out to us, they asked for a few additional documents. We fulfilled their request on October 26th. So there's been nothing that they've been waiting on from us since 2 days after they departed from the district. I will say that all of their reports are public, and so I did take a quick look on their site because this is what anecdotally they were sharing with me over the past few months, is just how busy they've been, unusually busy. 2 years ago in 2021, in the last 6 months of the year, they had 7 school districts that they completed reports on, audits. In 2022, it was 8 school districts that they completed audits for during that same period. Over the past 6 months, they did 18. And they have already produced 4 in 2024 in the first 5 weeks. So literally a doubling of districts that they were supporting over that period. And unfortunately, because we had made that request again on the voluntary basis, inviting them into the district, we were not prioritized in their reviews. So they have committed to their availability on our upcoming meeting in March, and so we anticipate being able to have them for you then.
Last thing I wanted to make the board aware of is that we have a pump at John Burroughs High School in their pool that has frozen and it's not something that can be easily repaired, but we do have a solution. So I wanted Mr. Cantwell to explain that, because we have kids who compete in aquatics and we want to make sure that they are not hindered.
Yeah, so as Dr. Paramo said, on Tuesday of this week, 2 days ago, the pump did fail. We had an instinct that it was possible, and so we actually had a vendor out about a week and a half ago who looked at what it would take to ensure its long-term survivability, its ability to continue to regulate. They said that it was beyond its usable life. The components are all about 12 to 15 years old, and so what we did was we identified the need to purchase a new pump. We initiated that purchase order on Monday, thinking that we had some time before a potential failure, and again, the failure came on Tuesday. Unfortunately, that pump has a 4-month lead time, and so even though we initiated the purchase earlier this week, we are not able to get that long-term fix in time for this swim and water polo season. Fortunately, we have identified a short-term fix, purchasing a different pump unit that will be able to service the needs of the pool as a 2-week lead time. And so we will have a new pump. We anticipate it at the end of February or the very first few days in March. We've already been reaching out to the city, and the city has accommodated us and made some of the time at the rec pool available to Burroughs High. So for approximately a week and a half, they will have to utilize that pool. But we're very pleased that we're able to minimize the downtime given the severity of the failure.
Thanks to the city for that. That's great. And also, I really appreciated Dennis's report. And one of the things I think the public should know too is an attempt was made to see if we could use the same pump from the Burbank High Pool, but something about it being a horizontal pump and the one at Burroughs being a vertical pump. But I do want to say that we did attempt to find a solution, a more immediate solution, but I'm really glad that the city worked with us to try to find something that sounds like it is the best possible solution for a really unfortunate circumstance. So thanks to everybody in facilities for working so quickly to address that. Mr. Ferguson.
Thank you. I know we have the FICMAT report coming back in March, it sounds like. So it sounds like we have a timeline. If we could do actual advertisement for that, I think that's important. I mean, we have
absolutely
highlighted, and it's an important component of transparency, I think, to really say, hey, we've gotten the results back. It's important for folks to pay attention.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Just on a lighter note, so ice hockey is out of the question now?
I don't think it actually froze. It just stopped working.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it froze the whole thing.
The pump units did, not the pool itself.
Oh, right.
In his defense, I told him he should make that joke. Can you hand this? Yeah.
Let it go.
Thank you very much. We are going to move on to item 12, request to address the board. 10? 10. I looked at it and it said 12. An individual or group representative present this evening may address the Board of Education on any agenda item or any subject within the jurisdiction of the school board by completing a white request card and turning it in to Ms. Quinterio. Speakers are requested to state their name prior to speaking to the board. Not more than 5 minutes may be allotted to each speaker except by unanimous consent of the Board of Education. The superintendent may refer the matter to the proper department for review. The district is providing alternatives to in-person attendance for viewing and participating. Any individual or group representative may address the Board of Education on any agenda item or subject within its jurisdiction during, should be removed. I'm going to get rid of that. We do not have any virtual public speakers at this meeting. I have 2 cards. We'll begin with Schlossman and then Ms. Levitt-Gilmore.
Good evening, everybody, once again. Ms. Weisberg, I know everything I do you laugh at, but it never sits well with me at the beginning of the meeting when you don't stand for the flag salute. It's so unpatriotic, and it sets a bad example for our kids. We need strong leaders that are good examples, and you fall short of that. I have an item for you for future agendas. You called for that. How about you tell us all how teachers are compensated and all the benefits that teachers receive. And, I think that would serve the public well. You shake your head no, but it's, there's a lot of benefits to being a teacher. And at the last meeting, I talked about teachers getting 16 weeks off, even 17 weeks off. It's a part-time job. And you gave some examples, and I'll get to that in a minute. But it's mathematics, Madam President. You can't deny the mathematics. And if a teacher works beyond, they get a stipend. If they work for summer school or if they coach in the evenings, they get a stipend. Nobody's working for free around here. Well, I'm going to get to that. I have the salaries of everybody from now and from 3 years ago. We're going to use Mr. Becky as an example. I'll get to that. Mr. Agakanian, at the last meeting, you said you kind of suggested folks shouldn't, I'm over here. Folks shouldn't criticize unless they spend time in a teacher's shoes. So I accept your invitation. Tell me when and where, and I'll be there. I'll go to a classroom, because that's what you said. So I accept your invitation. At the last meeting, Madam President, you eliminated a period of oral communication, 3 minutes gone. But at the same time, you gave Mr. Becky 2 periods of oral communication. So she can come back here and talk yet again. But nobody else gets that. And the 5 of you, the other 4 of you, you sit there like the 3 little monkeys. The one who sees no evil and hears no evil and speaks no evil. Yeah. Did you know there's a 4th one? Excuse me. The 4th one is covering his crotch, his groin. And that's the public, all of us. We're the 4th monkey, because that's where we're getting hit all the time. The point of me saying this is speak up when something's wrong. It's always a 5-0 vote. There's never any discussion on anything. And, it's a disservice to our kids, really, is what it comes down to. It's so much for transparency and public participation when you eliminate a period of public comment. Mr. Becky stands here and tells you how hard it is for her. She's a PE teacher. Her salary 3 years ago was $88,000. And now it's $110,000, and that's not counting the $25,000 approximately that she gets in her retirement contribution. I mean, this is a good job. And do PE teachers have classrooms? I don't know. I don't think they do. Do PE teachers grade papers? No, I don't think they do. So how hard is it? The way you mock me is people see what you do and they hear what you do, the way you mock a speaker up here, and they get tired of it. You know, your logic, Ms. Weisberg, the analogy that you used is you said you were off work on a Saturday and you're watching a TV program and you thought of one of your kids and you kind of suggested you should be paid for it because you're never off the clock. That's how hard you work, and that's what you said. Go back and watch it. You know, terrible. Terrible. I was at the district headquarters recently and I saw a bunch of new furniture down there. How is it that you're cutting and telling us that you're out of money and yet you're spending money on new furniture at the district headquarters? There's a lot of new employees down there too. My phone number is 818-563-1234, and anybody can call me and talk about it. Talk about this horrible new bond that you're getting ready to put on all of us and the disservice that you're doing to our children by saddling them with decades of debt. And do you know what? Your employees call me and they send me letters. They do. They do. Okay. You know, you surround yourself with these PTA moms that drink the Kool-Aid and are so supportive of this bond that's coming. And I'm telling you, you're doing a disservice to your children if you vote for a bond, because a bond is different from a parcel tax. We got to pay a lot of interest on a bond. There's no, okay, I'll be back.
You won't be. Miss Gilmore, thank you.
Hello, everyone. Okay, gotta take my glasses off to read. Good evening, members of the board and other esteemed individuals here. I am here tonight to speak about the future of the Independent Learning Academy, also known as ILA, and the potential elimination of my position as office manager, along with the elimination or involuntary transfer of 4 of our teachers and our administrator. As you all well know, reducing our workforce due to budget cuts can have an absolutely disastrous impact on people's lives. I'm hoping that by speaking tonight and sharing my proposal, we can avoid at least a portion of this negative outcome. I believe that this specific topic of eliminations and reductions was supposed to be voted on in tonight's meeting. I was told that the board would see a list of job titles to be eliminated and take a vote. I'm not just a job title. None of us are simply titles. I believe that the vote on the list has been moved to the March 6th meeting, but I felt strongly that I had to speak out before then. The information shared with us about why jobs are being eliminated is allegedly due to enrollment numbers. From August of 2023 till now, ILA's enrollment grew from about 110 to over 250, where it remains today. Our enrollment changes daily, often accompanied by the panicked calls of a parent who is at their wit's end with their anxious child, their bullied child, or their severely depressed child. Basically, a child who simply does not want to go to school. These types of students create weeks of absenteeism, which I know is a huge concern to the district, and ILA has been an answer and a refuge for these students. I believe that the format of ILA will be undergoing some changes, some of which are needed, and some that will disrupt and impact the lives of many students and staff. While changes are inevitable, at this point, I'm trying to save my position and keep ILA running strong. Here's my personal recommendation. I propose grouping ILA, Mag Park, and CDS all under one title / job description and having it run by one office manager, me. This would mean that a new job description is formulated. As the only change would be adding the 2 schools to the ILA job description, I would be able to stay in my position and range and move to the Mag Park campus to support their day-to-day operations. The district would still realize its cost cutting of 2 office managers being eliminated, and I would be able to provide consistency to the extremely important and valuable ILA program, particularly needed with the elimination of our administrator. With new admin potentially being in charge of 4 school programs, Monterey, ILA, Mag Park, and CDS, there would be someone very capable and familiar with how ILA runs, not to mention someone who has been an office manager in the district since 2011. I have run both a very busy elementary school and very hectic middle school, and have been at ILA since 2022. I know I can handle the needs of what I like to call the alternative education program. I see this as a huge win for the budget concerns, the students and parents' concerns. There's minimal collateral damage in the elimination of jobs, and the business of providing the best education possible to our students continues. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Gilmore. Seeing no other public comment, we're going to close our public comment period and move to 10B, superintendent comments.
Thank you. And thank you, Ms. Gilmore, for coming down. I appreciate your words about ILA. Especially during the pandemic, ILA was a thriving program. It still thrives. Not nearly the enrollment we had anticipated. Considering what the class size average is contractually, having 12 teachers when we originally started times 30, where our enrollment didn't nearly come to that. And given our fiscal crisis, it would be fiscally irresponsible for us not to adjust. We have pulled all the data about the current 8th graders, 9th graders, 10th graders, who are gonna, and 11th graders are gonna move to the next grade level. And we've looked at that number. And we've also padded that number so that we can allow additional kids to access the program. But that number is still lower than what we have now. And so that is the reason why we're contracting the program with the intention of still trying to keep this caseload at 25 to 30 per teacher, which, in all honesty, is a lot lower than their counterparts at Burbank High School or John Burroughs High School or even Monterey. And so we're trying to really do our best with that. In terms of staff, I read your email. We're still working on how this works in terms of moving staff. So I give you my word, we'll consider what your suggestions are and look to see how we can try to mitigate that. But you know, it's not easy for me. It's not easy for the board. These are tough decisions. They really are. And what I don't want to do is hurt kids in any way. So I'm trying to do this in a thoughtful manner that will still allow kids to have options and still help us to reduce the budget, because that's something that we just have to do because it's incumbent upon us to do that, and we are obligated to do that. And so I welcome any feedback anytime you have it. Welcome any conversation if you want to come to the office and we can continue to talk. I have no problem with that at all. Mr. Becky, I just want to tell you that I wish I could pay you more. I think I'm a talented guy. I think I was a pretty darn good English teacher, and I did it for 14 years. I could never have a class of 55 kids running around. Everybody knows that. I just needed to say it publicly. You know that. And your curriculum isn't just to teach them all the mechanics and physical movement, but part of your curriculum is book work. And you do grade papers. And the community should know that. Yeah. I'm just going to leave it there.
Thank you, Dr. Paramo. Board member responses. Mr. Ferguson.
Thank you so much. It's Ms. Gilmore. Thank you so much for at least engaging and providing, a solutions-oriented road for us to kind of follow. without a doubt, there are changes that are going to be hard. But I think that we are doing our best to kind of navigate it in a student-centered focus. I want to make sure, obviously, that passion like yours, obviously, that we're not, gutting the district of that kind of passion and that kind of commitment. Having said that, we've done all we could to avoid this and to turn and to make better decisions fiscally so that way we don't have to make as hard cuts. But we've gone to the community multiple times for new revenues, and now it's finally coming home. So I don't want to run or be a part of the decline of our district, but that is our duty right now, to make sure that we keep the core services as functional as possible, as cohesive as possible, so that the students get the very best education possible. And that means right now, unfortunately, that people we know, people we love, are going to be impacted. I hate that this is going to impact you personally or anybody else. But what I did really appreciate was at least some ideas, right? Something we could work with, something that, frankly, Dr. Paramo knows this. I'll send him a quick, wait, could we do this, right? It comes to you, as you're trying to problem solve around these, because these are very human situations and very real cases. So just thank you for your time and for coming down tonight. And to Mr. Becky, I don't think it's, you run for office and that's fine. You expect you expect to be called out every now and then. It goes with the job. I don't think when you signed up to become a teacher, you signed up to have your compensation read into the public record, and then to undermine the reason why you even earn it. Just to be so... I remember when I used to babysit for my church youth group, 10 students would drive me, by the end of the day, completely floored. I just, nope. I've seen these PE classes. I've been in these PE classes. I have to tell you, it's some of the hardest work out there. And by the way, do all that in 110-degree heat. Navigating kids between bungalows, to get them. It's so ignorant of the work. It speaks so little about the research that's being done before the baloney is just poured out thick to make political points on whose back? Ultimately, kids. So, shall not say the name, but I'm just so tired of it. And Mr. Becky, good for you. If you notice, you didn't put in a card. Come back and use public comment time or taxpayer money to fire back, to do personal vendettas. Good for her. So Burbank Teachers Association, you are well represented by your leader. And as Dr. Paramo, thank you very much for saying and really, I think, speaking to the values of this district. I wish I could pay you more. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ferguson. Dr. Agakanian.
Thank you.
Wait, no.
Oh.
Who's
no.
next?
Oh, you're next.
Ms. Tabbitt.
So.
That's twice. No, just kidding.
It happens on the third time.
Slowly rotating the head.
Oh my goodness. Mr. Ferguson, you're right, as you are, Dr. Paramo. Every single person on this board wishes every day we could pay not just our teachers, but our site staff, our district office staff, everyone that makes a kid's day worthwhile. They get to learn, yeah, right? If only so. That would be a goal, a dream come true, that would happen. Unfortunately, that's not the world we live in, and we all are pulling along the best we can, and no one, I've seen a few budget cuts over time. I've watched this board practically gut the district office of personnel, so much so that eventually it really did start to affect kids in the classroom. And it was an avenue we had to take at the time because we wanted to keep those cuts away. And Mr. Ferguson, you said it right. Here we are, without those, additional funding sources, whatever they may be. We're just, this is where we're at. So unfortunately, and I do appreciate it, as I've said to other folks, Mrs. Gilmore, who've come down, and not just with a complaint, but with, hey, here's an idea. It may or may not work, but it's always appreciated when someone makes that effort. I mean, it's always appreciated when someone just comes down to speak their mind or say what's on their mind. It's appreciated. I had a conversation today with someone who I said, you know, well, I don't want to say anything because I don't want to get in trouble. Well, if you don't say something, how are we to know? How are we to solve a problem or fix it? So that's appreciated. And yeah, that's about all I got.
Thank you, Ms. Tabbitt. Clerk Ponser Kamkar.
Thank you, President Weisberg. I agree with what my colleagues have said, just about thank you for coming with some ideas. I'll also share, like, I am personally going, like, my work situation is one where I have reorged myself out of the organization and will no longer have a job come June 30th. So, like, I am working with a lot of folks that are going to be in that situation all the time, and it is not fun. It's really stressful, and it's, you know, I think we take very seriously the fact that it is not just a list of positions. We know that there are human beings behind that. And so we take it really seriously. And so I trust that Superintendent Paramo and the team will come back with the best options that we have in a really hard situation. But thank you for coming down. I also just wanted to recognize Mr. Becky because you don't need to know. You know that your job is hard, right? We know that your job is hard. And I think that we've been fairly open and honest about how our teachers are compensated. There is a published salary schedule. There is a real clear way that our teachers are compensated and given benefits. And we've also compared that to other districts, and we know that we're far below that, right? Even after a historic victory and raise for our teachers last year. And so I did want to say, you know, I was at Huerta last week and made it into a couple of classrooms. And, you know, I appreciate you reminding us that that's part of the work, right? I was at Huerta last week. I was at Mirror this week because we've been talking about math and the Algebra Collaborative and all of that fun math stuff. And so that is what I've been focusing on my school visits. I've not yet come to see the 50-child PE classes because it just sounds quite terrifying. But I will come for an empathy visit, if anything. But thank you for all you do in service of your members and in service of our kids.
Dr. Agakanian.
Thank you, Madam President. Ms. Gilmore, thank you. Again, I'm echoing what my colleague said. Thank you for bringing forward concerns, but also ideas. You know, we're here to listen. And, you know, to our friend, which always comes here and talks about numbers and finance and this and that, you know, someone who teaches business, finance, and accounting, I think the salary you mentioned in today's based on the cost of living, I don't know who can survive even on those salaries. So maybe next time when you come and talk about numbers, maybe you should do a little background check and a little history about what the cost of living is in County of Los Angeles. Thank you very much.
Oh. Okay. Let me get to my stuff. Ms. Gilmore, thank you. I'm probably going to say what everybody else said, which is that if we just saw people as positions, it would be easy to make cuts and it's excruciating. But it is always really helpful when people come up with solutions. Whether or not we can utilize them is almost beside the point. I know that you want what we all want, which is the best possible situation for our students and also for our teachers and our staff. And I know that we're going to do the best we can with these difficult decisions. I hope you'll keep communicating with us if you have other questions or concerns. And it sounds like you've been interacting with Dr. Paramo, but please feel free to reach out to us as well. And I just really appreciate you taking the time to come down because, you know, it's 8:40 on a Thursday night. And even though apparently working in education is a cakewalk, I hear you have to get up in the morning and do it again. I don't know. Mr. Becky, look, we can't stop sad, angry people from coming here and denigrating the people who educate our children. We can't do anything about it, right? First Amendment right. Apparently people have a lot of time on their hands, and writing cardboard signs doesn't take up all that extra time. But I do want to say that it is pretty disgusting that somebody thinks it's appropriate to stand in front of this school board and denigrate teachers and call into question the money they make and the job that they do or don't do. It was referenced that I talked about wanting to get paid for watching a television show. And that was a reference to, I think, what many teachers know about teaching, which is when you go home, everything you do, you're thinking about your kids. If you watch something on TV, you're like, oh my God, I got to get this section so I can show them tomorrow. And I don't do it because I go in and then submit a reimbursement request. Because I certainly am not going to get reimbursed for the time I spent watching whatever nerdy Ken Burns documentary I am watching on any given night. I do it because I love my job and I love my students. So for somebody, Mr. Schlossman, to get up here and say that I set a bad example because I make a thoughtful, intentional decision about how I display my patriotism, and you get up here and defame teachers, would you do that to the teachers who taught your children? Because I know they did a phenomenal job. Would you tell them they're underpaid? You don't get to respond, sir. You don't get to respond. And if you talk to me, then we'll call the police. No, I didn't. It was rhetorical. I don't know if you know what that means, but it was rhetorical. I am tired of us having to sit here and hold our tongues when you trash our staff, whether they're teachers or classified staff. You do not work hard enough for this district to do that. You get up here every week and you say the same stuff, the same incorrect stuff over and over again. I think each one of us could get up here and say, you don't stand for the pledge, teachers make too much money, they need a vacation, don't do a bond or a parcel tax. We could do it too. But the fact of the matter is the majority of this community wants to support this district. The majority of this community knows we need to pay our teachers more. The majority of this community knows how hard our maintenance staff works. And you come up here and pretend to care about them. You don't. Because if you cared about any one of those things, students, teachers, or staff, you wouldn't come up here and insult them every single week. I get it. You need attention, sir. There's got to be a board and commission meeting you can go to tonight or every other Thursday night. I remember Miss Clark, when she was still here, said, you have to ask yourself, is what I'm saying good for students, good for teachers, and good for staff? And if it's not, why am I talking? Nothing you say is in the best interests of our kids or the adults in this community. I mean, you can, whatever you're doing. I get to talk because I got elected. Our representatives from our unions get to talk because they got elected by a pretty big membership. And I'm sorry that you don't get to talk as much as you want to. But you do get to talk here for at least, 10 minutes every single meeting. No, you get 10 before it closed. Just because people don't get to see you doesn't mean you don't talk. It's not like a tree in a forest thing. So, while I find it difficult to believe that there are tons of staff that are emailing you, you get the respect that you earn, sir. And until you can get up here and respectfully engage and give our teachers the respect that they deserve, I don't care what you say about me, it's funny. That's why I laugh. It's not funny what you say about our teachers. It's not funny that you put our staff in a position of feeling like they have to defend themselves. And if you think on any planet that teaching is a part-time job, then you are just delusional and have no idea the amount of work it takes. So this is the last time I'm going to address this. I'm like middle school teacher tired, so like I just don't have tolerance for the nonsense right now. But if you could hear yourself for 1 second, try saying something that benefits the district. Try saying something that actually shows you care about anybody who works within the district. Try saying something that actually shows you care about any student in the district. Because all I see when you get up here is an angry man who wants to make people feel bad. So best of luck with that, while we continue to do everything we can do to improve the educational experience for everyone involved.
Sorry. And I also forgot to mention, because I usually don't respond to our friend, but I did tonight, because again, crossing the threshold, as you said earlier. But Ms. Rebecca, I also want to thank you for more than ever we need PE teachers. Our kid, as we speak, is on the treadmill right now because post-pandemic virtual stuff, kids can't go out anymore. It's very important. So thank you for all you do. And he's getting there. He's working hard, but it's not easy. So thank you very much, and thank you for all you do.
Okay, moving on to 11, new and unfinished business. 11A, approval of comprehensive school safety plans. Can I have a motion and a second? Moved by Dr. Agakanian, seconded by Mr. Ferguson. Any conversation? No? Okay. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Ms. Ponser-Kamkar has stepped out for a brief moment. Moving to do we want, can we take the vote again now that Ms. Ponser-Kamkar is back, just so that we have all fivesies? That wasn't meant to guilt trip you, by the way.
No.
So we are, Dr. Agakanian moved and Mr. Ferguson seconded the approval of comprehensive school safety plans. Indeed. Thank you for all the work that went into those. So we'll take a vote again. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. 11B, 2024 California School Board Association Delegate Assembly Election Subregion 23A. So how do we do this? We have to vote, right?
Yeah, for 2.
We have to vote for 2. So we're casting our vote to appoint up to 2 candidates.
She runs it, we raise her.
Okay, so this isn't really a motion and a second, though, is it?
No, it's not. Well,
It will be. All right, so let me read the candidates first, and then we'll take a vote. So the 3 candidates are Jennifer Hall-Lee from Pasadena Unified, Kimberly Kenny from Pasadena Unified, and Shant Sahakian from Glendale Unified. So Kimberly and Shant are running as incumbents. You can also choose a write-in candidate. I don't have a write-in candidate ballot, but I don't know. You can just write it down somewhere. So I'll read the 3 names, and then let's go ahead and vote. So Jennifer Hall-Lee, Pasadena. It's 2 Pasadena and 1 Glendale.
and the other 2 are, the next 2 are incumbents.
Kimberly Kenny, am I pronouncing that right?
Aye. Over to you. Yes.
5-0. And Shant Sahakian. Okay, so it looks like we have unanimous votes for Kimberly Kenny and Shant Sahakian. Can I get a motion and a second to approve those votes?
So moved.
Moved by Dr. Agakanian, seconded by Mr. Ferguson. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. 11C, ratification of agreement for consultant services. May I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Moved by Dr. Agakanian, seconded by Ms. Ponser-Kamkar. Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. 11D, adoption of Resolution 18 proclaiming March 2024 as Intellectual and Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month. May I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Ferguson, seconded by Ms. Tabbitt. Any conversation? I will say that in keeping with this new tradition we started, Dr. Macias and Dr. Promo are going to talk to our amazing librarians about making some book recommendations for this resolution at our next meeting. I'm really into that we're doing that. Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay. Dr. Agakanian, did you move it? Mr. Ferguson. I have it. Do you want it?
Yes.
Okay,
If I
hold
can,
on.
just my.
Of course
it
you
is
can.
not connected.
Let me open it up.
Try and get this there.
Okay, here.
Thanks.
Oh, he's got it.
Thanks for the assist. Thank you. Technical difficulties, thank you. So with that. Okay, Resolution 18, proclaiming March 2024 as Intellectual and Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month. Intellectual and developmental disabilities are disabilities characterized by significant limitations both in intellectual functioning, reasoning, learning, problem solving, and in adaptive behavior, which covers a range of everyday social and practical skills and typically appears before the age of 18. And whereas in 1987, President Ronald Reagan declared March to be Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month. And whereas quality and effective programs can lead to significantly positive outcomes for individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities, and whereas individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities often require a lifetime of specialized and community support services to ensure their health and safety and participation in the community. And whereas individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities are living and working in the community, pursuing higher education, developing their faith, falling in love, and getting married, and making their voices heard in all aspects of life. And whereas Burbank Unified School District employs qualified and caring individuals who strive to support the education and lives of the students with intellectual disability and developmental disabilities and support their families. Amen. And whereas Burbank Unified School District is dedicated to developing and sustaining programs and resources that support these students with intellectual and developmental disabilities and their families. And whereas March 2024 is designated as National Intellectual and Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month to increase public awareness of the need to support individuals and family members, educators, and other professionals who teach and care for individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities to ensure they are respected, valued, and fully included in the community. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Education designates the month of March as National Intellectual and Developmental Disabilities Month, Awareness Month.
Thank you. Beautifully read. We are going to move to 11E, acceptance of gifts.
Charlene?
Ms. Tabbitt, you want to? She's eating her nerd gummy clusters, guys. Give her a minute. We are sponsored tonight by Nerd Gummy Clusters. Kidding, we're not.
Emphasis on the word nerd. Okay. Gee, taken aback by that. I move that the Board of Education take formal action accepting the following gifts to the district, and the board president shall convey appreciation to the donors, without whom many of these programs at our school sites would not exist.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Tabbitt, seconded by Dr. Agakanian. So, big, humongous appreciation and thank you to Charities Aid Foundation America, who donated some materials and supplies for Thomas Edison Elementary. John Burroughs PTSA, who donated money to be used to purchase red umbrellas at Burroughs High School. And a big thank you. I was at the PTA last night, and Principal Noob said that arrived just in time because some of the umbrellas took their last breath during the storm, and so now there is umbrella money. Not like rain umbrellas.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
It just says umbrellas, red umbrellas to be specific. Thank you to Jefferson PTA, who donated money to be used to pay for substitutes. Miller PTA, who donated to provide materials and supplies for students and families at Tile Night at Miller Elementary. Thanks to Stevenson PTA for generous donation to be used for field trip buses at Stevenson. Thank you to Jeffrey Drake and Wendy Molyneux, who donated money to be used for materials and supplies at Huerta. Big thank you to White Studio Photography, who donated money to be used for materials and supplies at Huerta. Thank you to Apex Fun Run, who donated a big chunk of change to the district in the amount of $32,232.60 to be used for materials and supplies at Stevenson. Thank you to Special Olympics Southern California, who donated money to be used to support Collaborative Learning Center work plan at Jefferson Elementary. And last but certainly not least, a thank you to Emerson PTA, who donated money to be used for field trip buses at Emerson Elementary. Thank you to everybody for your donation, no matter how big or small. It is hugely appreciated. Okay. We are going to move to our last new addition to our agenda restructuring, reports from board members. This is the time where board can report out on the exciting things they've done and not awkwardly tack that on to responses to public comment. If they want to. Mr. Ferguson, would you like to begin?
Thank you. So just briefly, I've been absent the past two meetings, and so, I've been on this board for close to 10 years now. It's not easy when you have a hard time in life, and there's just been a series of real personal challenges that have come into my life, and it's hard. What I know is that when I'm here, I'm 100% on for our kids. But when I can't be, I can't be. And before the last meeting, I had another personal loss, and I cannot tell you how much I've appreciated the phone calls, the text messages, the Facebook messages, you name it, from this community. It's just, you don't expect that. We do the work every day, and we don't expect necessarily that work to be seen. That's fine. But when people message you out of the blue, it truly is touching. So, and here's the thing, right? It's okay to not be okay. It's okay to struggle. And so, from the bottom of my heart, just thank you to everybody who's reached out, who's checked in, who said hello. It means the world to me. My passion for this district and these students and their success is unyielding and will never be diminished. But when you deal with personal stuff, you've got to deal with it and be fully present for that so that you can come back and do the work on behalf of our kids. So thank you again to everybody who checked in, and just wanted to take a moment to talk about that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ferguson. We're glad you're back. Ms. Tabbitt.
It's been slow for me.
That's it.
Usually,
it's been a slow week.
Yeah, usually I'm, Mr. Ferguson, you're right. You can spend 10 years on this board, and there are going to be some times when you just need your own space for a moment for whatever reason. I'm glad you're back, and your presence was certainly missed, not here. There's definitely a big hole over there when you're not here. And I'm not just referencing, size or anything. He's got those big shoulders, I meant it nicely. It was a positive, Dr. Weisberg. That's 2. No, I'm just kidding. No, that's 3. Okay, now you're going to find out. But, and there's 22 school sites, and you hope to get to all of them during a school year. And so you're talking about, 2 weeks, a month, whatever it was, that you needed time for you, and that's totally okay.
I was still engaged outside of, so it wasn't.
The emails still come. You respond, you talk, life still goes on. I get it. So, but there are some things coming up in our district that I'm looking forward to. I think it was the first season that I didn't go to a basketball game. I know. It's just been like that lately. Excuse me. looking forward to this stuff coming up. Pop Show is always one of my faves that's coming up. Yeah, and so please, school sites. I'm getting lots of PTA emails, but all of a sudden,
They signed us all up for their
and that's fine. I do that, but all of a sudden the emails are coming, and I don't remember getting those before. So I'm thrilled about that. And then we can participate in some exciting things that are happening at our school sites. So thank you. That's all I got.
Thank you. Ms. Ponser-Kamkar.
Thank you very much. I mentioned it briefly that I've been doing some visits I started with our middle schools to kind of visit some math classrooms because I was interested in what we heard from staff about the math collaborative. And so I wanted to see what that work looked like at the middle school level. And I'll say, like, I just really saw some amazing work happening in our math classrooms. What I really loved, I went into 3 classrooms at Huerta last week, and what I saw in each one of them, and they were all teaching different levels of math. I went into a geometry classroom, I went into a math 6 classroom, and what I really saw was an opportunity for students to course correct during the class, right? And the teacher giving lots of opportunities for getting it right, for mastery. And I thought that was really exciting. And I saw the kids doing it with a lot of confidence, right? It was not, it didn't feel like they were getting picked on for getting the answer wrong the first time. Like they were fully like raising their hand saying like, no, I get to do it because I got it wrong last time, so I get to answer this question now, which was so cool to see. And then I went, Mr. Howard walked me around at Muir today. We saw four math classrooms, I think. And what was exciting about what was going on there was the rubric grading that we talked about during that presentation. And it was really cool. We actually talked to a student who was in, I think it was a math 8 class, our grade 8 classroom, about like how he thinks about now getting a score from 1 to 4 on his quizzes and what that means. And he talked about, it was a shift because I'm used to getting, grades for just homework and getting my test and then moving on. But now I think about what did I miss and how will I use my retakes because I get so many retakes in a semester and how am I going to do that strategically? And I thought it was really fascinating to see how that is working its way through all of our math classrooms, which was really great. And so just, I'm going to continue trying to focus on math for the next couple of months, I think, with my visits. But it was really great to see. And I just want to say thank you to those principals and teachers for letting me in to just sit and lurk and talk to kids. And then I also just wanted to recognition for Dr. Young and Dr. Macias and a number of other folks for organizing a field trip of sorts for alternative education programs. So Dr. Weisberg and I went, we saw 2 that were through Glendale Unified and then 1 through the county, trying to understand what other alt ed programs look like, what they're doing well, what we could be incorporating as we rethink how we're serving our alt ed populations. And it was really interesting to see. It was also, I think, hard to see what you can do with significantly more funding that we do not have. So, I know that we have students that are served by one of the Glendale schools that we went to. We have, because it's part of the special education kind of local area, we could have students that were served by the Laco school, and I would feel comfortable sending any of our kids there if that was what was necessary for them to be successful. So that felt good, but it was a really fun trip and fun to get to know the folks that are really working on this very tirelessly. So thank you, Dr. Young and friends, for organizing that and taking us along with you.
Vice President Agakanian.
Thank you, Madam President. I did have the honor of attending the Burbank Foundation, Police Foundation event, and with our own Assistant Superintendent, Mr. Andy Cantwell. And the district was recognized during the program for working with the police department for bringing back some of the safety training programs because in lieu of all the accidents and speeding issues that have come forward. And it was a great event, and again, and we're also happy that we're sitting at the same table with Betty Porto and the entire staff of Porto's Bakery. So other than that, I do visit schools every morning. It's called dropping off our kids, I'm just kidding. But all the seriousness also. I did also have a meeting with one of our friends from the Burbank Armenian Youth Center, try to see how we can also start collaborating in more programs working with the district. I think they have a nice facility that, we can work with them closely as well. And that is my report. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Dr. Agakanian. Let's see. Big thank you to Miller PTA and Burroughs PTA for inviting me to come and chat with them over the past couple of weeks. Really great conversations and great questions, and I look forward to coming back if you will have me. A big thank you to Dr. Macias and Dr. Young for our field trip. I'm just going to call it that but it was really informative, and also to Trevor, right? Trevor Rapp from CDS, who also came and was invaluable as far as his insight about what we were seeing and ways we could integrate that in. And it was just another testament to how deeply invested we all are in making sure we make the best possible decisions for our students, especially those that need more individualized attention, and making sure that they get that. So it was it was powerful. It was a good day. Thank you to April Weaver and all the staff at Monterey for letting me run around like a crazy person, because I love that place so much. It was great to talk to Ms. Shiraga, the counselor there, visit with some students, get to see their unbelievable textile lab, their podcast lab. They have, and their music lab with these amazing pianos where they're doing piano lessons. So there's so much good stuff happening at Monterey, so I hope people get a chance to go visit. They're also selling really cool sweatshirts. Just saying. I know. Oh, we got to get one for Julie. Also, a big thank you to Burroughs ASB for having me back. It was a active conversation, and I got a lot of really important info out of it, and thank you to Principal Knoop for always taking time, came in and joined us for the second half of it. It's really exciting to see all of our staff at PTA last night at Burroughs. Principal Knoop came in, he said, "Can I go first? I have to get back into the girls' basketball game." So he gave this great presentation, ran straight back in for the third quarter, and he did that because he loves it, not because he had to. So it's always great to see our staff doing the things that they love. Really want to thank BTA President Nicole Drebecki for meeting with me last week. We had a great conversation, and she had some fantastic ideas for ways that we can support our EL students, helping them with learning how to do a lock and what to do with their gym clothes. And so I'm excited to share those because they were really great ideas that we can absolutely implement, really helpful tools. So because of her skill as a phenomenal educator, she was able to give us some really fantastic ideas as always. The last thing I want to mention is a survey went out after our last board meeting in regards to a shift in time. We've gotten actually about 200 responses so far, so I was pleasantly surprised. We are going to send it out one more time. Dr. Andrews is going to send it out probably tomorrow morning. We'd like to get as many responses as possible. So if you have not had a chance to weigh in, it's very easy. It's 2 questions about whether or not you wanted to move the time earlier or keep it the same. Thanks to the constituent who said that in response to that question, get rid of Weisberg ASAP. Heard and registered, sir. So if you haven't, I thought it was a very helpful comment. If you haven't had a chance to complete the survey, please go ahead and do that. Whether you're a student, a teacher, a parent, whoever, we want to hear from you. It'll stay open until next week, and then we will share the results, and then as a board talk about whether or not we'd like to make that change, but we're grateful to the community for helping us and guiding us in that process.
Is that one of the options on the survey?
No, he wrote it in.
Oh.
I'm assuming it was a he or she. I'm sorry, or they. I would never presume pronouns. Okay, before we move to the consent agenda, I'm going to read our retirements. Let's see. Teresa Dow, who is retiring. She began her service in 1992. Thank you so much. Janet McKenna, another elementary teacher, both from Disney, who began in 2002. Uh-oh. I don't know what that means, but okay. Deborah Cranmer from Jefferson. She began in 1990 with us. She began her service a really long time ago. Geneva Richards Tarandek, who is a teacher at Edison. She began in 2000. Thank you. Deborah Farmer, who is a teacher from Washington. She is retiring and began her service in the district in 2000. Hold on. Julie Lambert from Washington Elementary is a fabulous teacher who began her service in 1992. Renee Miller is a special ed psychologist. She began her service in 2003. Randy Batters from Mag Park, who's a special education teacher. Wow, he has been with us since 1988, folks. That is longevity. Wow. And Leanne Asmussen, who is a teacher from John Muir, who began her service in 2005. That is so many years of collective service to the district. A humongous thank you to everybody for your dedication, and we hope you get a good, long, relaxing time doing something else.
Well,
Yeah.
these are all effective at the end of the school year, it looks like, right?
Effective at the end of the school year, like I
is this part
said.
of the asking for retirements early? Great.
Oh, that's actually a really important. Thank you, Ms. Ponser Kamkar. So one of the things that we've been doing as we're navigating cuts is asking teachers who are thinking, we're not pushing anybody out the door, but if they're considering retiring, we're asking them to let us know a little bit earlier rather than at the end of the year. So these are teachers who've already made the decision to retire, but by letting us know now, it helps us not have to cut positions from teachers who would very much like to stay. So we're grateful for them. They're doing one more really generous act of service for the district. And Ms. Ponser Kamkar, thank you so much for flagging that. I appreciate it. We will move to item 13, the consent agenda. I don't believe we've pulled anything from this, so I'm going to need a motion and second to approve items 13A through 13L as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Dr. Hagakanian, super fast, seconded by Mr. Ferguson. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. We will adjourn at 9:09. 9:09. And we'll see everybody next month.